aspects. I'll be sharing different tools that have of my technique. So, all right, so let's start with the end in mind. What do we all want for our patients? Easy and complicated babies. We all agree with that? And we want the end result of a happy and healthy baby. So what gets in the way? Common complications of pregnancy. And what I did is I just brought up some research study on these different complications that tie into stress. Here's one on gestational diabetes. This is on preterm birth. This one's really interesting because what it looks at is that not only will we just look at the genetic factors and weren't any determination for the preterm birth, but when they look at stress, the stress actually activates the genetic factors. Right? So that's a whole field in epigenetics, and we're not going to be getting into that. But again, seeing how stress ties into these complications. Here's stress and preeclampsia. What I found interesting with this is not only did the stress lead to preeclampsia, but what they did is they looked at the offspring over time, and so that they actually saw depression in the babies later on due to the mother's stress. Here we're looking at maternal stress and seeing that increases in epinephrine affect digestion, growth, and immunity of the fetus. And in the infant, we'll see increased irritability, restlessness, crying, and digestive irritability. Early on in my practice, I had a woman come in, and a child had a projectile vomit. And I never saw anything like it. I mean, so this child, and the mom was telling me that through her pregnancy, what happens if the dad left? He was the first cried and stressed. When we look at the babies get stuck in the fetal position, going to a lot. It's just stress. She's stuck in sympathetic stress. And happily we were able to help.
We're going to medical.
Right, to medical. But it did, what happened was when we relaxed, when we released the tension in our body, we stopped. Yep. All right, long-term effects in the stress. You see long-term effects in developing brain and nervous system. And we're seeing effects to the adult, to the child, even into adulthood, in the mother's stress and pregnancy. Actually changes in fetal DNA as well. So we're not only we're looking at generations to come. So when mom is not happy, nobody. Right? So at this point, how can we support our patients to be better able to handle stress? All right. And, what we do in my practice, people primarily come through this practice. But what we realize is that their lifestyle has so much to do with the kind of stress they have in the daily life. What we do is we teach them things like exercise, nutrition, heart math, which is like a breathing process, yoga, meditation, and mindfulness training, journaling, massage, and chiropractic care are all things that can help the life of the nurse. So here we're looking at different complications of labor and delivery, and you know all of these, but what I basically deal with is dystocia. So, and I'm sure you know all these too. I'm just going to fly through these. The reasons for dystocia: power passes passenger. Power is they just don't have push, right? Passage could be the mother's pelvic diameter. But also we'll see when there's displacement of the sacrum in relationship to the pelvis, that could also affect passage. Passengers, abnormalities of presentation and position, soft tissue abnormalities, fibroids, etc., which I don't deal with at all. So emotional causes of dystocia, also high epinephrine levels are significantly associated with lower uterine contractile activity. What we see is when the mother's stressed, that's going to affect her ability to go through labor. So, how do we support our patients to be in ease? And one question I have is in terms of the office environment. How do you feel the office environment or the hospital environment affect? What can we do about that environment to affect their behavior? That's the question. Fun. As I was waiting to get ready to done, very last article is the importance of birth environment for the job. It's pretty funny when I saw that. And what they, I looked at it actually, it talks about not only just not talking about the lighting, which is really important. In fact, when I showed them the staff member, he was telling me that she had 2 kids, and there were complications in the first birth, complications in the third birth, and the second birth. Smoothly. She said something she remembered that when she was giving birth to the second one, there wasn't any fluorescent light. She remembered it when you ran. Got it. All right. Now, also we might be talking about things like personal support. And this article talks about that too. How to create an environment with mother figures support. And that might be things like, the dues love. Making sure that the right people are there. Right. Now, how do we support our patients to be at ease again? So I'm going to ask everybody a little participation. Give me one word when you feel things are getting kind of crazy and busy. How do you feel? You figured it out. Overwhelmed. It's normal to feel. Regular day. And so you guys are dealing with like that situation. I'm not dealing with that, and I know when things get busy, I get really speedy. And I know when I start getting speedy, it affects my interaction. How about the word that you support staff between you and your place? Bitchy, unpleasant, right?
Yeah,
and
now you're not busy. I don't know.
They'll be busy, right? How about your patients? How they when you're stressed? And you think they pick it up? And you think it affects their practice? Right? So here, how do we help ourselves to be more at ease? Because if we're not at ease, that affects our patients as well, right? So what do you do to keep yourself centered with things that you're afraid of? And you're able to do that. Anybody else? You have tools to calm yourself down. Yoga. Now, I'm going to ask you too, how do you prepare yourself for your day? When you walk in here, are you at a state of mind where you're really ready to be present for your patient? So if things are crazy, you're ready. I'm just going to give you an example for myself. What I found is that I wake up an hour earlier than I leave. And for me, I just kind of exercise. right back to work. Anybody else?
A whole new attitude.
It does, right? I'll be honest with you. I was scared after that. Right? So here I am, like chiropractor coming to see people. And I woke up like 5 in the morning, and I got on my fat bike, and I was just like, half dark. Actually, so. But the difference it makes in terms of my mental attitude, and I find that every day, I do that every day, so when I walk in the office, I'm ready. I'm ready to be there. How about general? How do you know? Yoga. How do they say? That's one. Tired. Is anybody looking for something? Does anybody feel like they need to be doing something different? They want to do something different?
I'm sure we all do that.
Okay. Yeah. To do something different. What time to talk about it? And next question is, do you feel supported by each other? You know, and that's something we really work on in my practice. You know, we get crazy busy also. Have a fairly big staff. I really work at making sure they feel supported by me, and that they support each other. And they work. In fact, every single day at the beginning of the day, I mean, I have that luxury. We watch like 20 videos and play games, so before the patients come in, we're just in a good head. Might sound crazy, but it works. All right. So now we're going to just hear the role of chiropractic balancing the nervous system and relaxing sympathetic stress. So cranial upper cervical tension can affect the brainstem and the vagus nerve. Release of that tension restores normal parasympathetic activity. So this is a study that they took blood pressure, heart rate variability, pulse rate, pre and post chiropractic care, short-term and long-term. Now here's a study that was done at University of Chicago School of Medicine. They had 50 people, 25 people were control group, the other 25 were experimental group. The experimental group, what they did is chiropractic part of the study adjusted them. And every single one of them, blood pressure, in fact here, too good to be true, every single one of his blood pressure was down as if they were on medication. All right. So what that showed us, and it was all upper cervical, like what the chiropractor did. So that again is supporting a chiropractic. You see, people have an idea of chiropractic. They go to the chiropractor, back hurts, crunches you, you feel better. And to me, that has nothing to do with what I do. My job, as a chiropractor, and people come to me to balance the nervous, to activate the parasympathetic. I do that for all my patients, I do it for my pregnant patients, and I can't tell you how many people have seen their blood pressure go down, start taking anxiety meds, down the line. Because often it's just the stress and tension in their body that is activating that sympathetic nervous system. Heart rate variability. Does anybody know about heart rate variability at all? So this is something that we use in my office. What we use is a measure. Imagine your heart rate is 60 beats. That basically is beating on a second. Now, the healthier we are, our heart can put exactly on a second. There's a slight variability, and that allows the heart to be ready for whatever might happen. So if you're in a car accident, there's a high shot of adrenaline, your heart will do it. On the other hand, if your heart is beating exactly on the second, it's almost as if it's in a rush. The big shot of adrenaline might overwhelm it, there's a greater chance of a heart attack. This is what's like because of what's going on through your whole body, all the organs. Right? So when there's a high heart rate variability, that's more parasympathetic. When it's in that rush, that's sympathetic. The body's being sympathetic. And this is a study just showing how chiropractic changed heart rate. And again, as I mentioned at my office, I see that all the time. So, so anyway, here, when there's tension in the spine, what happens is that one of the things that happens is that section of the synovial joints, and when we get type of mobility, synovial fluid stuff, what they'll do is start flying with these hemognosis vectors that lead from the liver system back to the chest. Also happens with these receptors, the nerves also go to the as well. So that's one of the ways that what we call chiropractic stabilization affects the body. Right? And when we're releasing this tension and stress in the spine, not only are we creating mobility back in there, but then we're activating the And what's really important is that to understand that this process can be painless. Only 10% of the nerves, the spinal nerves, are sensitive to nerve. The other 90% are motor and not. So if you have a great deal of nerve interference, you're not doing anything whatsoever. So often people come to the office with no pain whatsoever, or maybe they have pain in their back, and you find these areas in their neck. Or often their pain goes away, but they're still not functioning fully. So now I'm going to talk about the Webster Technique, which is probably why I've been invited here, right? So the Webster Technique is a chiropractic analysis that reduces interference to the nerve system, balances the internal pelvic muscles and ligaments, and this in turn reduces portion of the uterus towards the intrauterine of the baby and allows for optimal fetal positioning and preparation for birth. So now we're going to look at those three P's a little slowly now. So in terms of power, how the Webster Technique and how chiropractic actually helps the mother with her strength and the ability to push is by the correction of nerve interference. And I'm constantly testing the muscles to make sure the things are working optimally. And definitely see differences in pre and post adjustments in terms of the muscles. All right. Now in terms of passage, alignment of sacral pelvis, and we'll be getting more into that, and passenger releasing intrauterine constraint by balancing the muscles and the ligaments. We're going to get specifically into that. So with sacroiliac alignment, the pelvis can subluxate. So we have both the pelvis and the sacrum, right? Now the pelvis can subluxate anteriorly. You can rotate this way, posteriorly rotate this way. Right? Now the sacrum can rotate posteriorly, so we'll kind of pull back just like the pelvis. And this is something that you could definitely count, especially with this sacrum. And you really feel like a bone on tension, right on top of it. And, you know, I'm trying to do adjustments to release that. And what that does is, again, it affects passage, but also because of the universal ligament, it can release I had an experience last week. I had a woman come in, back pain, and she also had problems with the bladder, urinating like constantly. And the doctor told her that the problem was that the uterus was sucking the constantly. And after the very first adjustment, that stopped. And what I suppose is that the uterus is relaxing. Bladder is supposed to relax. Right? So here we're looking at the uterosacral ligament. The round ligament. Now the round ligament, when there's tension in the round ligament, that could pull the uterus unilaterally. All right? And I'm going to be demonstrating that in the back there. do, but very light pressure around ligament will release tension. It's an amazing thing to see. What you'll see between them. There must be a bunch of parasympathetic nerves in that ligament itself, because you actually see the base in the mind. I've actually had the experience of holding around ligament, watching the breathing open up, and happening to relax. And I saw a blue shade of turn right to the bar. Only happened once. But let me tell you, that was some experience. All right. Pubic symphysis can be affected by sacral misalignment. And when misaligned will pull on the round ligament, it'll go vice versa too. The round ligament will misalign the pubic bone too. So often we'll release the round ligament to the pubic bone. This is so important, psoas muscle. I had psoas muscle when contracted in spasm will compress the sacroiliac into the muscle. It's definitely a big reason for inflammation. But also, once I relax the psoas muscle, if I find it contracted, the baby's sometimes diaphragmatic tension. Any of you notice how the baby sometimes gets stuck in the ribs, right? With all this tension up in there, you right or the left, and there's a way of releasing that. And once you release that, the baby this relaxes, all this relaxes, the baby's good at a lot more. So, quickly, the cranium and sacrum. That's the thing with chiropractic. We're talking about one part, we're also talking about other parts, because they all work together. The tension in the cranium will affect sacral tension. The tension in the sacrum will affect cranial tension through the meningeal attachment. And often, in adjusting the sacrum, you can feel a whole head. I've had people come to me for headaches for years. Tried everything, adjusted their sacrum and headaches. And it goes the other way too. So you can't, in working, if you want to release it here, often you really have to be doing the cranial also. And doing the cranial work too, like you said before, that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which also allows everything else to. Make sense? Oops. All right. So, we're coming to a close here. What I want to say very clearly is that the Webster Technique is not a medical procedure. I'm not turning a baby. All I'm doing is relaxing the mother to the point that the baby has room to move on. All right. This week we had two babies. Two babies.
The best of any time. So
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Oh, it's too late. No, it's not.
So at what point is the best time to try?
Just start doing. You know what? Actually, what I want, how I feel personally is that the moms who are under my care, and you look at the moms and you see who's more successful. You see who has stuff with it. And I thought them as early. So instead of putting out the fire, we're getting the bodies ready even before we get there. That's how I want it. Otherwise, everybody's going to see these moms when they're 37 years. And it's stressed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a little bit of a miracle. We get them sometimes. But I think it would be a lot different. And I know, to get you thinking that way, when there isn't a problem, but that's how I see it, anyway, this is there was a study done, 81 presentations, there was a 69% success rate. Most of them, it was most successful with Frank preachers. This is a study I found with ECVs where they had 400 women. It was in Australia, and they had 66. So, you know, it's pretty close in terms of averages in these studies. However, with the ECVs, the studies showed that there was increasing postpartum intervention rates in women with low outcomes. So, you know, all I want to say is why not try the Webster technique before going in that direction?
I prefer, if I can, for a week and then give you a good couple of 3, 4 weeks work to become collapsed.
Right.
Because, you know, now they're 36.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about you want to go to this, so it can before you go to the huh? I give them acupuncture and chiropractic, but a lot of people get covered under you. Financially.
The master bus. We do the master busting also.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times you have strength, so that's
right.
The more financially.
And I would do both. Why not? You know?
Yes, you definitely do.
Not really, because there's a lot too. But I'm going to do it right now for everybody. All right. So, goal of chiropractic care is structural balance, physiological ease, and restoring normal function. And the Webster Technique is the exact same thing. And I honestly, I don't treat anybody differently if they're pregnant or not. What I'm doing is bringing them to eat. The only difference is that particular attention to around the ligament is different ligaments. But everything I'm doing is just trying to reduce tension in everybody.
I have found your most, but you know, I don't think I've used it a lot. Postpartum, not walking. I mean, it's miraculous difference than once the business can be becoming not walking.
Yeah, that's just you. Everybody ready for demonstration? No. Don't leave right away because I pushed you close. All right. That's going to be part of the closing. Let me bet. Everybody, this is Jacinda. This is an instrument that's supposed to activate it, calibrate it to release tissue. So, we're going to have to lay down. I'm going to just so this is a full adjustment. Now, Jacinda came to me having trouble walking right, a lot of pain, and also she had sciatica. Usually when you think of sciatica, I think about L5, F1, And however, the reason why she was having sciatica is because the sacrum is posterior. This side, this is the right, posterior on the right, and the piriformis, the body is quite correct. The piriformis when it's pulling on it, the piriformis when it's expanding, and that was choking. So what it feels is, piriformis is expanding, not right. Sacrum. Yes, definitely helps. So I have a drop table in the office with such a statement. Wow. Yeah. So you get to the right. So now, since I'm looking at different reflexes, it's showing me to adjust. And I have a right lateral atlas. To the right. This is a very particular technique. You see different things. I kind of miss a lot of different. You go to 100 chiropractors from it's amazing how to do things. Then we head to the right. Left. So here, with the student head to the left, this leg pulls up. So that usually means it's an occipital double space. Okay? So the tension all the way up there is affecting the pelvis. So here we are, problem here that could be affecting the up, middle, go back, then you head to the right, to the left, and to the right. Now, what I'm doing now is testing part of the block right here, hold strong, hold strong, hold strong, and go to the weak here. As there's a reflex, what I'm going to do is, I'm using this block to stabilize the sacrum and pelvis a certain way. What's happening with them is the whole technique is stabilize. Up, you do, I have baby blocks. So, I see a lot of new kids also. See a lot of babies who have colic, and now they're just in everybody, Dr. Cotlow and Golden for lactation, for lactation. Breathe in and breath out. In, out, in, out. You can do the sphenoid bone. I could feel it stretching the sphenoid on the back. Whoever gets this woman to work for us is great. I'm planning after she has a baby. What I'm doing right now is the medial pterygoid bone attached to the pterygoid part of the spleen. And I'm going in there, I feel a lot of tension in that muscle. Very gently. Stretch that out. Okay? Yeah, you guys will come up close. You're so far away. frontal bone. Now, this what I'm going to do now is an area for the Douglas Ramen, vagus nerve center. So I'm going to just check to see. So this is something for each of those. This is behind the feet. Looking up to the central bone. It feels really good when it's done. Yeah, I'm going to get to that in one sec. But like you said, it's a lot of preparation. There's tension here, there's tension there. There's tension early in the neck. Good. Up. Up. This up. Boom. Okay. So now I'm just going to take the diaphragm, let's get a baby and support up in the middle. That's good. I'm going to get the pelvis, diaphragm. That's awesome. And the right round movement. Right here. And this is something you can do. So like I'm saying, it's not just, I'm not using any more pressure when it starts touching the heart. Watch. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, come on. I will. Wait. You have a video talking about that? No, you just do it. Alex is the third, and others. Can you feel like this? That's it. So that's the making. There you go. Don't lose the flow. That's call to action. That feels much better. Now I'm going to do what is okay. Chiropractic, but here I can feel a real restriction in one. Very gentle. That was really good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so my clothes.
How do you feel?
So, there was a huge hurricane down in Florida. As we walked down the beach, thousands of stars walked down. There was a man bending down and picking up one starfish at a time, throwing them back in the ocean one by one. The little boy asked me, how could he possibly be making a difference if some of the starfish he was fighting? We all became doctors and nurses because we made a difference. We made a difference in one of our patients' lives, one at a time. A lot of people use chiropractic as tools to help with patients themselves. We want to continue our communication. As we talk on stress reduction and meditation, we have classes every week. Exercise, everything. I'd be happy to do it for yours, and I'll also be happy to share. Well, hospitals or medical facilities that you can benefit from. Thank you. Oh, and I have cards and everything. Oh, I practice with it.
And you do lots of buses too? Okay, you do lots of buses?
I have a degree in acupuncture. But I don't, you know what? Oh, are you? Oh, cool. You want an adjustment?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, you can have one. You know what I mean? And like, you're like, wow, I'm stacking your hours.
You know what? Instead of giving me an adjustment, let me just check and see if I can see it. Because I'd rather do a full examination.